What's up, my fellow Gundogs? That long-awaited moment has finally come. I've had many requests, and let's get into my top favorite games of all time. Before we actually get started, I'm going to shout out to all the Gundogs out there, all of our new ones, all the old ones, all the new ones. Welcome to the doghouse. And so let's talk. We're going to do my top 10 list. These are my favorite games of all time, not the best games of all time. And this list, of course, is subject to change, but I worked real hard putting this list together and thinking about it. We'll do the part one, the first five. We'll do part two later. All right, without further ado, my top favorite games of all time. Number 10, BROFORCE. Now, I made a few different audio recordings for this entry, but let me give you it's close to 35 different reasons why this is one of my favorite games. Rambo, Commando, B.A. Baracus, Walker Texas Ranger, Die Hard. I mean, Die Hard's not a character. You know who I mean. MacGyver, Blade, Judge Dredd, Men in Black. You know, the guy, the one who's not Tommy Lee Jones. Snake Plissken, Terminator, RoboCop, Indiana Jones, Ash from Evil Dead, Mr. Anderson. Oh yeah, well of course Neo. The Boondock Bros, the Boondock Saints, Machete, Conan the Barbarian, Ellen Ripley, Time Cop, Universal Soldier, Colonel James Brodick. I should know what that is from Missing in Action, whatever. Cherry, that one chick with the gun leg. Mad Max, The Bride, James Bond, Predator, The Rocketeer, Braveheart, The Professional, Raiden, Highlander, Dirty Harry. What is it? Tank Girl. Bruce Lee, and then they had like DLC. Oh no, I think that included the DLC. Anyway, all of these characters, when you rescue a hostage, you get one of these characters. They become playable or whatnot, and they range from overpowered to really overpowered. They're fun. The environments are all fun. Everything's nearly destructible. I have a rule that when things start popping off and exploding, just stand still, don't move. It's the best way to survive. You can do cool combinations like have Tank Girl summon her tank, and then rescue someone else and get Conan, and then you sure as hell you can jump in the tank with Conan. Now you're Conan in a tank. It's just a lot of fun, and it's one of the games I wish I could get one of the Gundogs to co-op with me. I have it on Steam. If any of you guys are interested, or please we can stream it. I want some content. I love this game, and it's number 10 because it's the one I played the least. But BROFORCE is one of my favorite games for sure. Number 9, WATCHDOGS 2. What the hell is this game doing on my list? Especially considering the other open world third-person games that didn't make the list. But the reason why Watch Dogs 2 is on it is because of all the little things that make Watch Dogs 2 different. It's the bright, vibrant San Francisco setting. It's the little puzzles throughout the maps. Now, keep in mind, you can also just fast travel everywhere. There's fast travel points all over the map. But if you actually take the time to explore it, you find skill points, you find late game abilities to unlock and discover, and you find them by kind of puzzle solving using your hacking abilities. You've got your ground drone that drives and hops. I think it's even called Thumper or Jumper. And then you got your flying drone that allows you to scope out the area. You can hack cameras and then bounce back to other cameras just to open up your point of view, and then as long as you have point of view from the camera, you can hack from there. So it's just like the gameplay is a little more unique than just your running and gunning, which you can, but when you're really doing it right, you're not going to shoot that often. I will say my one complaint about the game is that a lot of the skills that you need, you're going to get late game. It's almost like I understand the progression system and why it exists, but the reason why I enjoyed my second playthrough so much is because after my initial playthrough, I had a better idea of everything I was capable of. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I can see, how am I going to get up here? Eventually, I'll be able to hack a forklift, and then I'll be able to, elevate this box and climb onto here, and, parkour my way to the roof, and so on and so forth. And so, I love the environment. I love the gameplay. The missions that you do are all like about taking down big tech companies that are cartoonishly evil, but still kind of seemingly realistic in a, in a modern setting where all of our data is available for, everyone to use. At one point, you take down a big insurance company that's exploiting our medical backgrounds. Hey, the main villain has a man bun and does yoga in his condo. It's got a good sense of humor, and it's fun. It's very hipster chic coffee bar, and it's one of my favorite games. Number 8. Gears of War. The man, the myth, the legend. No, it's not Master Chief in Halo. It's Marcus Phoenix, and he's in Gears of War. Once again, Gears of War. This is one of those legendary exclusive titles for the for the Xbox. Because as we all know, Sony, I guess, is somehow some type of champion of exclusives. I mean, yawn, color me unimpressed. But I can't wait to do a separate video about how overrated Uncharted is. In fact, Uncharted is the most overrated game of all time. But we're not here to talk about how bad and underwhelming Uncharted is. We're here to talk about how great Gears of War is. This game rocked me. I wasn't looking forward to this until the day it came out. Emergence Day. I think it came out early, a day or two earlier, or earlier than we anticipated. But this was back when we ran to the mall to pick it up because we found out that it's already out. It's out right now. Let's get it. You picked it up. This is one of those games I started playing with a friend, co-op, and by the end of the night, I had beaten the game, going through 2 different partners. One friend left, another friend came over, he took over, and then that friend left, and I ended up playing online with some guy. And I played that game beginning to end. That first day I picked it up, and I don't remember how many hours it was. Maybe 6, maybe 8, maybe 10. I don't recall. But that first game really, rocked me. There's no jumping, and it's not like Halo where everyone's a bunch of crickets. And by the way, when I say everyone, now let's get to the meat of it. I played that multiplayer so much. When I list the games that I was the best at, online multiplayer-wise, the first Gears of War is one of the games I got really, really good at. Now, in hindsight, I wasn't tournament worthy or elite worthy, but what I'm talking about is the experience that I did have. I mean, I was really good, but I wasn't glitch good, and that's tournament worthy. You got to be able to glitch, do the crab walks, and the weapon slides where you're picking up weapons when you slide. I couldn't do any of that. I just had a blast. I also used the Lancer a lot, which was apparently one of the weaker weapons. Everyone favored the pistol. Not that I did not use the pistol. I love the pistol. Just great game. I had it was the experience that came with it. Sort of like one of the other games I mentioned, the gameplay. It's the time I had playing the game that made this game. And it never got better to me. I played the other ones, 5 kind of reignited my interest. I was like, oh, look at this. They're doing something a little different. I'm engaged again. But that'll never be as good as the original Gears of War. Number 7. Splinter Cell Blacklist. Who here remembers where they were when they first picked up Splinter Cell Blacklist? None of you. Not a single one of you has played this game. Some of you might have heard of it. Some of you might even think you heard of it. Or Splinter Cell. Yeah, I played some of those. But none of you fools played Splinter Cell Blacklist. And I can't blame you. You know why nobody played this game? This game came out exactly 1 week before one of the most anticipated games of all time, Grand Theft Auto 5. Even I, who wanted to play Splinter Cell Blacklist, was like, well, I can't really justify a purchase for this game right now. Grand Theft Auto 5 comes out in a week. This is where one of those few opportunities where I'd say, God bless alcohol, because I got hammered that night, and you know what I said? I'm like, all I gotta do is click right here on Steam, and next thing you know, we're playing Splinter Cell tomorrow morning, because we sure ain't playing tonight. And yeah, let me tell you, I like the spy series, but there's not a lot of those realistic spy games. Everyone synonymously thinks spy games are like, oh, Metal Gear, which Metal Gear has spy aspects, but Metal Gear Solid is more of a comic book experience. It's got over-the-top comic characters, and we love it for its fiction and its far-fetchedness and its science fiction elements. Splinter Cell is very grounded in reality. It's definitely a Tom Clancy game, because sometimes, you know, when you beat some of these games, it's hard, especially the first time, it's hard to recall exactly what happened, because there's a lot of politics in the background. And like, the president did what? The vice president did what? In fact, don't ask me what Splinter Cell Blacklist is about, now that I just said that out loud. But that might just be because it's been a while since I've played this game. It's one of the earliest games I did stream on this channel. I like, there's a lot of customization. You know, you get points for, you know, being a ghost, going loud. And right now, a lot of games give you credit for that, give you that spectrum of points. Well, for like sneaking, or for, you know, being, you know, a killer, or, again, going loud. But this game did this way before a lot of these modern games that did it. Not to mention, this is also has the Spies versus Mercs, which is a very unique, fun cat and mouse game type. Splinter Cell Blacklist. Right now, if you're into the Splinter Cell series, if you never had a chance, I highly recommend you look into this game. You could probably pick it up on sale for like $10. Number 6, Doom Eternal. Oh my God, what more do I have to say other than Doom Eternal. Doom 2016 shook people with how good that game was. They reminded us that, like, oh, okay, cool, you can reboot an IP and just make it badass. But Doom Eternal did exactly that. It took, because Doom 2016 has a story. There's definitely a story, and you can choose to, like, get as deep into that story or as, you know, shallow into it as you like. But Doom Eternal, like, picks up a little bit after we left off. They've changed a couple of details, or leaves a few questions asked, like, oh, how did he get out of the blah, blah, blah. But a lot of the characters return. Old cyborg guy and old witch queen lady. I don't remember anyone's. I might be more on the shallow end when it came to this story. But, like many games on this list, Doom Eternal was an experience. It's so fast-paced, and you have to adapt so quickly. Enemies, I mean, you can kill... Certain enemies have certain advantageous ways to go about killing them, but in general, it's just anarchy. And in 2016, as long as you had like a good path, like a circular path, you can kind of kite everyone around. Oh, they fixed that. In Doom Eternal, it's harder to kite things. They will cut you off. The AI is vicious. And it's incredibly satisfying in that, like, arcade style where I've got to kill all these big enemies before I can proceed. Meanwhile, they keep putting out the little guys as well, and you use your chainsaw to get your ammo. It's a vicious cycle. You have to maintain a rhythm. It's almost like the loudest orchestra of all time. And speaking of orchestra, how about that soundtrack? How about that soundtrack? Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, still Mick Gordon, but like, just the music changes with the action on screen. It adapts to the chaos that you are bringing down upon the minions of hell. And remember, the only thing they fear is you.